The human sat by the wreck of his shuttle, staring at the burning sky above. The crash had shaken his bones, but somehow he was alive. Alone, or so he thought. He checked his comms again, no signal. No rescue, just a broken hull in the silence of a strange alien world. The air was breathable, the ground solid, but everything about this place felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. Then footsteps. He spun around. Two tall figures stood at the edge of the clearing. They were not human. Their skin shimmered like silver under the twin moons, and their hair glowed faintly as if holding light inside it. They looked the same face, same eyes, same long limbs. Twin sisters. They walked closer, their movements smooth, almost like liquid. Their eyes bright violet, never left his face. He tensed, hand near the knife on his belt. "Stay back," he warned, but the twins didn't stop. They stopped only a few feet away. Then, one of them spoke in perfect, clear English. "You are the last hope," she said. The human frowned. "Hope for what?" The second twin stepped forward, her gaze sharp and unblinking. "For our people. Our kind is dying. We have no males left." The human blinked, stunned. "Wait, what are you saying?" The first twin tilted her head slightly. "You will repopulate us." For a moment, he thought he misheard. Then he laughed hard. It had to be a joke. An insane, bizarre joke. "You're kidding me, right? I just crash on your planet, and the first thing you say is what? Breed your whole race?" The twins didn't laugh. They didn't even smile. Their faces stayed cold and serious. The human's laughter faded. The silence between them grew heavy. He looked from one to the other, still half expecting them to grin and admit it was a trick. But their eyes were deadly serious. "You can't be serious," he muttered. The first twin took a slow breath. "We are. It is the only way." The second added, "Others will come tonight. They will not ask. They will not give you a choice." "We did." The human swallowed hard. He wanted to shake his head, dismiss it as madness, but something about the way they spoke. It sounded too real. Still, he forced a smirk. "Well, thanks for the offer, ladies, but I'm not exactly looking to play Adam to your alien Eve. You've got the wrong guy." The twins exchanged a glance, not anger, not amusement. Something colder. Something that sent a shiver crawling up his spine. The first one stepped closer, close enough that he could smell a strange, sweet scent on her skin. "You think this is funny?" The human's throat went dry. I think it's insane." The second twin whispered, "You will not laugh when the night falls." The human turned to look at the darkening sky. The sun, or whatever passed for a sun here, was sinking fast. Shadows spread over the clearing, stretching long and sharp. A cold wind blew. "What happens at night?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Neither answered. They only stared. The human shook his head and stepped back toward the wreck. "All right, you've had your fun. Go back to wherever you came from. I'll handle myself." The twins did not move. Finally, the first one spoke again. "You are stubborn, but stubbornness will not keep you alive when they come." "They?" he repeated. "Who's they?" The second twin's eyes flicked toward the tree line. The forest beyond the clearing rustled. Something moved out. There, something large, heavy. The human froze, his knife still in his hand. The first twin said softly, "If you do not take us, others will take you." The sound from the trees grew louder, branches snapping, low growls echoing through the night air. The human's chest tightened. This was no joke. This was no prank. Something was out there, and it was coming closer. He looked back at the twins. They stood perfectly still, watching him, waiting for his choice. The human tried to laugh again, but his voice cracked. This is crazy. This isn't real." The second twin whispered, her voice like a knife against the cold night air. "Believe it or not, human, when the night falls, you will understand." The forest went silent, too silent. The kind of silence that meant a predator was near. The human gripped his knife tighter, heart pounding. His mind screamed to run, but his legs wouldn't move. The twins stepped closer, their voices low and calm. "We offered you safety. We offered you purpose," you laughed. "But now you must decide." The human's eyes darted between the glowing eyes of the twins and the black wall of forest where something massive moved in the shadows. His chest heaved with every breath. His hands shook. And then the first growl ripped through the night. Deep, low, hungry. The human's blood ran cold. The twins turned their heads toward the sound, their eyes flashing in the dark. Then, together, they looked back at him. The first one whispered, almost gently, "It begins." The human had never felt silence so sharp. The growl from the forest still echoed in his bones, and the twins' last words, "It begins," were stuck in his head. He backed toward the broken shuttle, knife ready. The twins did not follow. They just stood in the fading light, watching him like statues carved from silver. Finally, he found his voice. "What the hell is out there?" The first twin's gaze flicked to the tree line. "Hunters. They smell new blood." The human forced a shaky laugh. "Great, space wolves, just what I needed." But the second twin stepped forward, her eyes locked on his. "They do not hunt animals. They hunt flesh like yours." His throat went dry. "You mean humans?" The twin's expression didn't change. "Anything that breathes, anything that bleeds." The forest rustled again. A branch cracked louder this time, closer. The human's hand tightened around the knife, though deep down he knew the little blade wouldn't do much against whatever made that sound. "All right," he said, trying to sound brave. "So what, you two are my only bodyguards now?" The first twin shook her head slowly. "We are not here to guard you. We are here to bind you." His brows furrowed. "Bind me? That sounds worse than the wolves." The second twin stepped closer, her glow catching his eye in the growing dark. "If you choose us, the hunters cannot touch you. If you reject us, they will drag you into the forest before dawn." The words hit him like ice water. His instincts screamed that they weren't lying. "Why me?" he demanded. "Why not some other poor idiot? Why not one of your own people?" For the first time, the twins' calm cracked. A flicker of pain crossed their perfect faces. The first twin whispered, "There are no others." The second's voice followed, trembling just slightly. "Our kind is ending. We have waited too long." The human's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He wanted to tell them they were crazy, that none of this made sense. But the pounding in the forest grew louder. Whatever was coming, it was real. He turned toward the shuttle. The metal hull was cracked, smoke still rising from its engines. He had hoped to repair it, maybe send a signal. But looking at it now, he realized it was nothing but scrap. His only real option was survival. Until morning. And survival, it seemed, meant dealing with these two alien women. He swallowed hard. "All right, suppose I believe you. Suppose I take your offer. What happens then?" The twins exchanged a glance. The first one stepped close enough that he felt the heat of her breath. "Then we take you into the chamber. We seal it before the moon rises." "The chamber?" he asked warily. The second twin's lips curved into the faintest smile. "A place where no hunter dares enter. Where bloodlines are kept alive." The human's stomach twisted. He knew exactly what she meant, and yet he didn't want to say it out loud. Before he could answer, the forest broke open. A shadow moved, huge, four-legged with glowing red eyes. The human's heart slammed against his ribs. The thing was massive, its body low to the ground, muscles coiled under dark hide. It growled, teeth flashing in the moonlight. The twins moved in unison, stepping between the human and the beast. Their bodies glowed brighter now, like their skin itself was a weapon. The human whispered hoarsely, "What "What the hell is that thing?" The first twin's voice was cold. "A taste of the night. Do you believe us now?" The creature crouched, ready to spring. The human raised his knife, though his hands shook so hard the blade wavered. Then, in one blinding instant, the twins struck. They moved faster than his eyes could follow. The first leapt high, her glowing hands slashing across the creature's face. The second darted low, cutting at its legs with a blade that appeared from nowhere. The beast roared, staggering back into the trees. The forest shook as it vanished, leaving only broken branches and the sound of its retreat. The clearing fell silent again. The human stood frozen, his knife still trembling in his grip. He looked at the twins, these women who had just fought, like living weapons. You could have killed me too," he whispered. The second twin met his gaze. "We could have. But we chose not to," the first added. "We chose you instead." The human's skin prickled. He realized now that their offer wasn't just strange. It wasn't just about survival. It was binding, permanent, dangerous. The forest around them groaned again. More shapes moved in the shadows. More glowing red eyes appeared between the trees. The first twin turned to him, her voice urgent. "There is no more time. Choose." The second whispered, "Come with us or be taken." The human's breath came fast, his chest tight. The night was closing in, and he could feel the weight of his decision pressing down on him. He looked from the wrecked shuttle to the glowing eyes in the forest, and finally to the twins. His hand shook on the knife. He opened his mouth to speak, and the growls came closer. The hunters were not waiting. The human hesitated at the edge of the forest. The hunter's red eyes burned like coals in the shadows, moving closer with every second. His grip tightened on the knife, but deep down he knew the truth. He couldn't fight them all. The twins stood at his side, glowing softly in the dark. Their voices rose together, urgent and steady. "Come with us." The human's chest heaved as he made his choice. He lowered the knife, clenched his jaw, and nodded once. "Fine, lead the way." The twins didn't smile. They only turned and moved quickly through the clearing. He followed, the sounds of growls behind him growing louder, closer, angrier. The path cut into the ground like it had been carved by ancient hands. The further they went, the colder the air became. Torches made of stone, yet burning with blue fire lined the passage. Finally, the path opened into a wide stone chamber carved deep into the earth. Strange markings glowed faintly on the wall's spirals, stars, and shapes that reminded him of both maps and warnings. The twins stepped inside first. Together, they pressed their glowing hands to the stone door. With a heavy groan, the entrance sealed shut, locking the world outside. The human spun around, eyes wide. "Wait, you just sealed it? What if we need to get out?" The first twins' calm eyes met his. "We will not leave until the night is done." The second whispered, "And by then you will not wish to leave." His stomach twisted at her words. He glanced around the chamber. It was an empty dot. At the center stood a platform of black stone, polished smooth like glass. Carvings wrapped around its base, glowing faintly like the veins of a living thing. Strange urns stood in the corners, filled with some liquid that shimmered. As if alive, he felt a chill run down his back. "What is this place?" the first twin answered quietly. "This is the chamber of continuance, where bloodlines are saved, where our people endure." The second stepped closer to him. Her violet eyes glowed in the dim light. "This is where you will bind to us." The human took a step back, shaking his head. "Bind? I didn't agree to that. I only came because something out there wanted to eat me." The first twin tilted her head slightly. "Survival is not separate from binding. If you do not accept, the chamber will not protect you. The hunters will find a way inside." His pulse thundered in his ears. "So you're telling me this whole place, this whole ritual, is about me becoming your what? Your mate? Your breeding stock?" For the first time, the twins perfect. Masks cracked. The second twin's jaw trembled, her voice breaking as she spoke. Not stock, not an animal, the last chance. You are the first male not born of this world who can live here. You are different, stronger. The first added softly. You can save us. The human's throat tightened. He had spent his whole life being ordinary. Just another soldier, just another survivor. And now these two alien women stood before him, speaking as if his blood alone could decide the fate of an entire race. It sounded insane. It was insane. But their eyes, those desperate violet eyes, told him they believed it. He swallowed, forcing a harsh laugh. Even if I wanted to, I'm just one man. How can I save a whole species? The first twin stepped onto the black platform. Her silver skin shimmered under the glowing walls. One seed grows forests, one man begins nations. The second's voice lowered into a whisper. But only if he is brave enough to begin. The chamber's glow brightened suddenly. The carvings on the walls flared like fire, and the black platform pulsed with faint light, alive, waiting. The human felt sweat on his brow. This is madness. The first twin extended her hand. Madness keeps you alive. Refusal kills you tonight. The second added, her voice trembling, and kills us forever. The silence stretched heavy. Then, a sound rattled the sealed stone door. Boom. A second strike shook the chamber, dust falling from the ceiling. The hunters had followed. The human's blood ran cold. The twins didn't flinch. They only turned, their eyes back to him, waiting. He looked at the glowing hand extended toward him. His breath came fast, heart hammering. Another thunderous boom cracked against the door. The stone held. But for how long? The human clenched his fists. Every instinct told him he was walking into something he couldn't undo. Yet every sound from outside told him he had no other choice. Slowly, hesitantly, he stepped forward. The first twin's fingers brushed his, warm and soft despite the glow. She pulled him gently toward the platform. The black stone pulsed beneath his feet. Strange symbols lit up, wrapping around his legs, glowing like chains. He pulled back slightly, panic flashing in his eyes. What's happening? The second twin's voice was steady, though her hands shook as she touched his shoulder. The binding begins. The walls shook again. The hunters slammed against the stone with feral rage, growls echoing through the chamber. The human's chest rose and fell, his voice breaking. And if I don't finish this? The first twin's eyes met his, unblinking. Then the door opens, and they take you alive. The chamber flared brighter, swallowing him in light. And outside, the hunters roared. Asterisk. The chamber glowed brighter, wrapping the human in it of light. His chest rose and fell with ragged breaths as the black platform pulsed under his boots. Strange markings crawled across the stone like fire in veins, wrapping around his legs, climbing higher as if trying to claim him. The twins stood on either side, their glowing hands pressed against his arms. Their touch was soft, too soft. For the first time since the crash, the human felt fear cut deeper than any blade. Not fear of the hunters outside. Fear of what was happening inside. He yanked one arm free. Stop this. I never agreed. The first twin's violet eyes locked onto his. Calm, cold, unblinking. Your fear is natural. But fear does not free you. It binds you tighter. The second twin's voice softened, trembling like wind in a dark cave. Let it in. If you resist, the chamber will consume you instead of protecting you. His throat went dry. Consume? What did that mean? Another thunderous boom rattled the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling. Outside, the hunters roared again, claws scraping against the stone door. The human's grip on the knife tightened until his knuckles turned white. He wanted to fight, to run, to smash his way out, but there was nowhere to go. The door was sealed. The chamber alive. The twins too close, he whispered through clenched teeth. You're using me. The first twin shook her head, her long silver hair swaying in the glowing light. No, we are binding with you. The second leaned closer, her voice almost a breath against his ear. Without you, we fade. With you, we live. Her words sent a shiver racing down his spine. The glowing marks reached his chest now, circling his ribs like chains of fire. His heartbeat pounded so loud it filled his ears. He wanted to scream. He wanted to wake up from this nightmare. But then, something unexpected happened. Her hand. The second twin's hand rested gently on his chest, right over his heart. Her skin was warm, softer than any touch he remembered. Her eyes, once sharp and alien, looked different now, softer, almost human. Not fear us, she whispered. Fear them. The human's eyes darted to the door. The pounding grew louder, faster. Cracks spidered across the stone as the hunters slammed against it again and again. Each roar shook the chamber. He swallowed hard, staring at the twins. Hand on his chest. He should have pushed it away. He should have fought harder. But for a strange, fleeting moment, he felt calmer. Not safe, but less alone. The first twin's voice broke the silence. You think we are monsters. But outside, they are the monsters. They will tear you apart piece by piece. We offer you something else. Something lasting. The human clenched. His fists, torn between panic and the strange pull of their words. Why me? He asked hoarsely. Why not anyone else? The first twin's gaze was sharp as a blade. Because you laughed. No one else would laugh in the face of death. That is why you are chosen. His breath caught in his throat. Of all the reasons, that was the one he least expected. Another boom. This time, the door cracked. A sliver of red eyes peered through the split. Claws reached in, scraping stone. The twins moved closer to him, their glow brighter, their voices rising together in a chant he couldn't understand. The words weren't English, but he felt them. They echoed in his bones. The chamber pulsed harder. The marks on his body burned hot. His knees almost buckled. He gasped. I can't. The second twin's lips brushed his ear. You can. Hold on. Her words weren't a command. They were a plea. The hunters outside howled in fury, slamming again and again. The stone door groaned, nearly breaking. The human's body shook as the chamber's light surged higher. The twins held him tighter, their warmth pressing against his arms, their voices binding his mind in rhythm with his heartbeat. And then suddenly, it all changed. He saw flashes, visions, memories that weren't his, fields of silver grass under alien suns, towers of crystal rising above oceans of light, children running, laughing, their hair glowing faintly in the dusk. A whole world alive, beautiful, thriving. Then, ruin. Towers falling. Skies burning, the laughter gone, the children gone. Only silence. Only the twins left. The visions slammed into his chest, stealing his breath. He staggered, gripping the platform as if it could hold him steady. The first twin whispered, Now you understand. Tears brimmed in the second twin's eyes. Her voice breaking. We are the last. And you are our only chance. The human's throat burned. His mind screamed to run, but his heart cracked under the weight of what he had seen. The pounding at the door shook the chamber again, but for the first time. His fear was not only for himself, it was for them. The human raised his eyes, meeting the gaze of the twins. They weren't just strange aliens anymore. They weren't just manipulators. They were survivors, desperate, clinging to him as the last thread of hope. His hand lifted slowly, trembling. But instead of his knife, it reached for theirs. The twins clasped his hand, pulling it against their glowing chests. The chamber roared to life. The hunters outside shrieked in fury as the light grew blinding. The door held, though cracks deepened, and in the middle of this storm of light, the human felt the first touch of something far greater than fear. The chamber's light flared so bright it hurt his eyes. For a moment, the human thought the glow would drive the hunters away. But then crack, the stone door split wider, and a claw big enough to crush his skull scraped through, showering sparks. The twins tightened their grip on him, their chants rising, faster and sharper. The glowing marks on his skin pulsed in rhythm with their voices. The pain was unbearable, burning like fire under his flesh. He screamed, "It's not enough! They're breaking through!" The first twin snapped her head toward him, her violet eyes blazing. "Then fight with us." The second twin's voice was a whisper, but cut sharper than steel. "Not with the knife. With us." The door groaned again. A monstrous howl shook the chamber. The human's knife trembled in his hand. But his instincts screamed. This blade was useless against what waited outside. The platform pulsed harder. The twins pressed against him, their bodies glowing like living fire. His blood roared in his ears, his heart racing faster than it ever had before. He felt something awakening inside him. Strength, heat, rage that wasn't only his. The door exploded inward. The first hunter crashed through, its body filling the entrance. Its skin was black as tar, stretched tight over muscle and bone. Its teeth were long and wet, dripping with hunger. Red eyes burned as it locked onto him. The human froze, knife raised but shaking. The beast lunged before it could reach him. The twins moved. The first leapt forward, her glowing hand slashing across its face. The second darted to the side, moving faster than lightning. Their voices still chanted, but now each word struck like a weapon. The beast howled in pain, staggering back, but more poured through the cracked door. 2, 3, 4 of them, their claws scraping stone, their roars filling the chamber. The human stumbled back, heart hammering. "There's too many." The first twin spun to face him, her glowing hair whipping around her face. "Then stop thinking you are only human." The second shouted, "The bond is not finished, let it take you." He didn't understand. He didn't want to. But when the largest hunter roared and lunged straight for him, something inside broke loose. His knife lifted, but not by his hand alone. His arm burned with light, glowing symbols wrapping around it. He slashed. The blade tore through the beast's thick hide as if it were paper. The creature shrieked, stumbling back, dark blood spraying across the floor. The human stared at his hand, stunned. What was that?" The twins answered together, their voices sharp and sure. "You are not alone anymore." The hunters closed in, their claws raking against the chamber walls. The human fought, but not like before. Each strike of his knife carried a strange power, guided by the glowing marks crawling across his body. His arms felt stronger, his vision sharper. His movements matched the twins, as if their bodies were connected. When one hunter leapt high, the first twin kicked its chest midair, sending it crashing into the stone wall. When another swiped low, the second twin ducked under its arm, slashing its throat with her glowing blade. And when the largest beast tried to crush him beneath its claws, the human raised his knife, and the twin's hands gripped his wrist, guiding his strike. Together, the blade pierced through its skull. The creature fell with a final roar, shaking the ground. For a moment, silence. The chamber floor was slick with dark blood. The hunters' corpses switched, then stilled. The air stank of iron. Smoke. The human staggered back, his chest heaving. His knife dripped black blood, his hands glowing faintly. He looked at the twins, both glowing, both breathing heavy, their hair plastered to their faces with sweat. He rasped, I killed them. The first twin cut him off." "Not you, us." The second's voice broke, soft but sharp with truth. "The bond has begun, now it cannot be undone." Before he could answer, another sound echoed through the tunnel. Beyond the shattered door, heavy, slow, different from the others, the human's blood ran cold. "There's more?" The twins' eyes flicked toward the darkness. For the first time he saw fear in them. The first whispered, "Not hunters, something worse." The second added, her voice trembling, "They will not stop, not until dawn." The human clenched his fists, knife ready again. But deep inside, fear twisted tight in his gut. He had fought beasts. He had survived a crash. But this felt bigger. The twins moved closer to him, pressing against his sides, their glowing hands brushing his arms. The chamber pulsed again, symbols crawling brighter across the walls. The first twin whispered, "Now you see why we chose you." The second's lips almost touched his ear. "Because without you, we are dead before morning." The human swallowed, heart racing. He wasn't sure what terrified him more, what waited in the darkness, or the bond growing stronger with every heartbeat. And then, from the shadows, a new roar shook the earth, deeper, hungrier, smarter. The night hunt wasn't over. It had only just begun. Asterisk. The roar from the tunnel shook the chamber like thunder. The human staggered, knife raised, his body still glowing faintly with the marks from the bond. Blood from the fallen hunters pooled at his feet, black and steaming. The twins stood beside him, their silver skin glistening with sweat, their violet eyes fixed on the shadows ahead. For the first time, he saw fear flicker in their faces. He whispered, hoarse, "What the hell is that?" The first twin's lips tightened. "The Alpha." The second added, her voice trembling, "He is older than us, stronger than all the hunters you faced. He comes when the weak ones fail." The human's throat tightened. If those monsters were the weak ones, then what chance did he have against the Alpha? The chamber walls pulsed brighter, symbols crawling like veins of fire. The platform beneath. His feet throbbed with energy, demanding something more than fighting, more than fear. The first twin turned to him, her hand pressing against his chest. Her touch burned through his shirt, her glow sinking into his skin. "The bond is not complete. You fight with a fraction of our strength." The human shook his head, chest heaving. "I already nearly died. What happens if I give you more?" The second twin stepped closer, her breath warm against his ear. "Then you stop being prey. You become what even the Alpha fears." Another roar, closer now. The tunnel cracked as the giant shape pushed through, each step shaking the earth. Human's hands trembled. He had felt strange power in the last fight, but it hadn't been enough. This thing coming toward them would tear him apart in seconds. The first twin's eyes locked onto his, burning with desperation. "There is no choice. Seal the bond or we die together." The second whispered, softer pleading, "And if you seal it, we live." He stared at them. Two alien women, so alike they seemed reflections, yet so different in their fire and fear. He had mocked them, doubted them, resisted them. And now they were all he had. The Alpha roared again, the sound shaking loose stones from the ceiling. The human clenched his jaw. "What do I have to do?" The twins didn't answer with words. They stepped forward as one, pressing their glowing hands against his chest. The symbols on the chamber walls flared, brighter, hotter. His body arched with pain as the markings on his skin ignited, spreading like fire across his chest, arms, and face. He screamed, dropping the knife. The heat was unbearable, his blood boiling inside his veins. But beneath the pain was something else, strength. A surge of raw power, not his alone. The first twin's voice cut through his agony. "Do not fight it. Let us in." The second's voice followed, trembling but steady. "Trust us. Trust yourself," the human gasped, every muscle shaking. He had trusted no one for years, not soldiers, not leaders, not even family. Trust had only ever betrayed him. But as the Alpha's shadow filled the tunnel, and the hunters' corpses stretched on the floor, he realized something. He had no other choice. His hands shot out, gripping both twins' wrists. Their glow surged into him like lightning. The chamber exploded with light, symbols wrapping around them all in a circle of fire. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then he saw, not just their faces, not just their desperation. He saw their memories, their world, their pain. He saw the long nights, hiding from the Alpha's brood, the centuries of dwindling numbers, the tears shed for lost sisters. He saw the last moments of their dying father, whispering of salvation from beyond the stars, and now him. The bond snapped shut like a lock. The human staggered, gasping, but when he opened his eyes, the glow didn't fade. It burned brighter. His muscles surged with strength, his veins pulsed with fire. His knife lay forgotten on the floor. He didn't need it anymore. The Alpha burst through the tunnel at last. The chamber shook as the beast crawled inside. It was larger than a tank, its body covered in jagged armor-like hide, its jaws dripping with acid. Its red eyes burned like twin suns, locking straight on him. The human didn't move. For the first time, he didn't flinch. The first twin's voice whispered in his mind, not in his ears, but inside his skull. "Now you are not alone." The second's voice followed, softer, warmer. "Now you are ours." The Alpha roared and charged. The human roared back. He leapt forward, faster than he ever thought possible. His body glowed with blinding light, the twin's power surging through him. His fist slammed into the Alpha's jaw, the impact cracking bone and sending the beast staggering back. The chamber shook with the force. The twins stood behind him, chanting, their eyes glowing like twin flames. Their bond flowed into him, guiding. His strikes, feeding his strength. He was not fighting alone anymore. The Alpha clawed, bit, slammed its massive body against him. But for every blow, he struck back harder. His fists cut through armor. His kick sent shockwaves across the chamber. His voice thundered with rage and fury and something new purpose. The hunters outside wailed in fear. The Alpha staggered, bleeding dark rivers across the stone, but it did not fall. Its red eyes blazed with hatred, and it lunged again, jaws wide. The human braced himself, power burning inside his chest. For the first time since the crash, he wasn't afraid. He was ready. The Alpha's roar split the chamber like thunder. The beast lunged, jaws wide, teeth glistening with poison. The human met it head-on. His fist, burning with the twin's light, slammed upward into its jaw. Bone cracked. The Alpha howled in rage, slamming its claw down, but the human caught it mid-swing. His legs buckled under the weight, yet he held. The twins' chants filled the chamber, their glowing hands raised, feeding their bond into him. Power flooded his veins like fire, driving back the pain, pushing him past human limits. The Alpha snarled, snapping its jaws, but the human twisted, slammed his shoulder forward, and threw the beast back against the wall. The chamber shook with the impact. Dust rained from the ceiling. The Alpha staggered, bleeding from its mouth, but it didn't stop. Its red eyes locked on him with endless hunger. The human's chest heaved, his arms trembling with power and exhaustion. His voice came low, hoarse, but strong. "I'm not your prey anymore." The Alpha charged again. This time the human didn't step back. He ran forward, faster than thought, faster than fear. His glowing fist smashed into the beast's chest with a thunderous crack. The Alpha howled, body shattering under the impact, blood spraying across the walls. The chamber blazed with light as the twins' voices rose to a final scream. The glowing marks on the human's skin flared brighter than fire. He lifted the Alpha off its feet, slammed it to the ground, and drove his glowing fist through its skull. The roar stopped. The Alpha's massive body twitched once, twice, then fell still. Silenced. The chamber went quiet, except for the ragged breaths of the human and the soft voices of the twins. The hunters outside wailed once, their cries sharp with fear, then scattered into the night. It was over. The human staggered, blood dripping from his arms, his body still glowing faintly. He dropped to one knee, gasping, His chest heaving like fire burned inside. The twins rushed to him, catching him before he collapsed, their hands glowing warm, pressed against his wounds. The pain dulled. His breaths steadied. "You did it," the second twin whispered, her voice trembling with relief. The first added softly, "No, we did it." The human looked at them both, his throat dry. What now?" The twins exchanged a long silent glance. Then, together, they spoke. "Now you choose." The human frowned, still trying to catch his breath. "Choose?" The first twin nodded. "The bond is sealed, but its path is not. You can leave us when the dawn comes. Return to your kind. Live as only yourself." The second's violet eyes glistened as she whispered, "Or you can stay. Stay with us. Carry our race forward. Be not only human but savior." The words hit him harder than the Alpha's claws. Stay, and he would never see Earth again. Leave, and their people would vanish with him. He dragged his gaze to the chamber door. Through the cracks, the faint glow of dawn began to seep in. The night was ending. The hunters were gone. Freedom lay just beyond that door. But when he looked back, the twins knelt before him, heads bowed, waiting for his answer. Their faces so alike, yet so fragile, were filled with something he hadn't seen since the crash. Hope. He swallowed, his throat tight. The weight of their world pressed down on him. One choice. One dawn. One decision. The twins whispered together, voices trembling. "Human, will you save us?" The chamber pulsed faintly, as if holding its breath. The human's hand trembled. At his side, his chest heaved. His eyes closed. Slowly he lifted his head, opening his mouth to speak, and the screen of light faded to black.